Well, thank you everyone for coming. Let's go ahead and bring to order the meeting of Templeton Community Services District Board of Directors. Today is August 20th and 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
Director English is absent. Fardanish,
Here.
Logan,
Here.
Mortensen,
Here.
and Peterson.
Here. Wonderful. Please stand for a pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please have a seat. Order of business. Do any board members would like to change the order of business? Okay, no. Let's go to the public comment. Members of the public may address the board on any items of interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board, but not on the agenda today. In compliance with the Brown Act, the board cannot discuss or act on items not on the agenda. Anybody in public wants to make any comments? Public comment? All right, so we'll just go ahead to the next item, which is consent agenda. We have 4 items on our consent agenda. We have the minutes from our special meeting, August 1st. That was the meeting where we approved the bid for the fire truck. We also have the minutes from the regular meeting, August 6th of 2024. We have the treasurer's report for June 2024. And we have resolution number 18-2024, which is the adjustment of cafeteria plan contribution. Do any of board members would like to pull any of the items? No. Any public would like to pull any of those items? Okay, all right, then I'll bring it back to the board and I'll entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
So I'll make a motion that the board approve the consent agenda consisting of the minutes of the special meeting of the board on August 1st, 2024, the regular meeting of the board on August 6th, 2024, the treasurer's report, and item D, the resolution number 18-2024, adjustment of the cafeteria plan contributions.
Okay, and do I have a second? Second. Okay, roll call, please.
Directors Logan,
Aye.
Peterson,
Yes.
English is absent. Mortensen.
Aye.
And Fardanish.
Aye. Great, the consent agenda items pass 4-0 with 1 absent. So next is our business items. Is the first item on the agenda for business is appointment of residents to the administration and finance committee. And I see we have 2 applications, and go ahead,
I
General
can just briefly update you on this. Eric Mortensen was previously the appointed resident on the Admin and Finance Committee with Director Mortensen now serving on the board. He can no longer be the resident appointment because that would leave 3 board members on a committee, and that would constitute a quorum of the board, and so that no longer works. So following the Mr. Mortensen's appointment to the board, staff solicited through our contact list, through utility billing, the Parks and Recreation email lists, through press releases and updates on our website, that we had an availability for residents to serve on the Admin and Finance Committee for the remainder of the year. And as of a little over a week ago, we received 2 applications. And those applications were attached for your review. We may have at least one, maybe both of the applicants are here tonight.
Yes.
So and so I would encourage you to ask them if they have any questions or anything they'd like to add. Otherwise, it would be our recommendation that you, at a minimum, appoint one of them to be the representative on the committee. And you may also, according to your bylaws, appoint the second one as an alternate to that resident representative on the committee. And this appointment would be valid through the remainder of 2024.
Great. I guess one question I have, I have a couple of questions. One is, we will expecting to have a meeting for the finance committee and sometime in September, or it'll be October?
I don't have a possible date yet. The admin finance committee is typically met at the conclusion of the audit work, or not when it's finalized, but when the majority of the field work has been finalized. We don't have dates for the auditors to conclude that work. The last year, I believe it was in October.
Okay, all right, and then if we, the alternate will, so they will be attending the meeting, the committee meeting, but they just won't be able to vote.
Yeah, if there is an alternate, the alternate of course can attend and participate, but there'd only be three voting members, the two board members and the resident that's the primary. The alternate would vote if the primary resident was unable to attend or participate.
Okay,
So they would rotate into that voting spot if in fact the primary appointee was unable to for any reason.
before I ask the applicants to make any comments, do any board members have any questions about the process? I do not. All right, so we have two applicants. Thank you for coming, appreciate it. First, we have Laura. Do you have any comments or questions that you would like to make? If so, if you don't mind standing, going to the podium, we will appreciate it.
I'll try. I'll give a little background and so you kind of know a little something about me. I am a longtime San Luis Obispo County resident. Both my parents graduated from Cal Poly, it's just why I'm here. And my family, including two of my children, are at the high school here. And we enjoy the community. We like participating, so I thought it'd be a good time for me to step up and offer some of my volunteer time, for which I don't have a whole lot, but I like the community, like to spend my time doing that. I do have a business degree, and I spend my daytime working on commercial real estate investments. And I have previously served on an advisory committee and the San Luis Obispo County Agritourism committee, which was a number of years ago, but we did a lot of work. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one. You state on here that your family splits time between here and Monterey. Is this by family? Does that mean you?
No, my husband and my two kids.
Okay, I just,
Because
if
they're
you
both
weren't
in
gonna
high
be here
school.
for 6 months of the year, I had a question.
Yeah, we're farm and ranch families. And
Okay.
so,
That's all I'm.
okay, yeah, no, it's fine. Anything else?
Any other questions?
I have lots of answers.
We need you.
I have more, just a comment, you know, and this is for both the applicants, is part of the reasons why we created these positions, community member positions on the board, is to help kind of get people familiar with the district and familiar with some of the committees in hopes that individuals would eventually want to serve on the board. So I guess my question to you, and I'll wait for Tanya to come to the podium, is that eventually your desire?
I would like to say yes. It would need to be when I have more time. Having two high schoolers, it's just not something in the cards right now, but yeah, definitely in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, thank you. Thank you for coming, appreciate it. And then Tanya, do you have any, I know you talked a little bit before, but if you do, if you
Yeah,
don't
I'm
mind,
just here. I really don't have anything else new to say, but just throwing my, you know, self out there again
I appreciate
to
that, thank
volunteer
you.
to help with whatever needs to be done.
Do you have any finance background?
I do not. Right now, I'm the trustee for TEF, but that's just because I know how to balance my own checkbook. I ran a business for 30 years. a
Oh,
daycare
okay, so you
business
are-
in the area, but that was just my own, you know.
But you're familiar with P&L statements and things like, okay. That's good.
So I would ask the same question that I had asked Laura about, do you see yourself wanting to sometime in the future to serve on the board?
Yeah, I put my application in for for that before, and then I tried to talk to Carrie about just saying, can you just put it in again? But I didn't get a hold of her. Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I know that you have been attending the meeting, so thank you.
Yeah,
for
and-
expressing your interest, because as you can see, there's not a whole lot of community members who are really showing an interest. And it's important that we have, the positions filled, but also that we have an election where people have to choose between who gets to serve on this board. So, in one way, I take it as we're doing what we need to do here at TCSD, thanks to Jeff and his staff. Because if we weren't doing a good job, people would be in here. But nonetheless, we still need a functioning board. So I do appreciate you expressing interest.
Of course.
Do you have any questions for us regarding this position? Well, thanks for doing this again. Thank you.
And
Appreciate it.
I don't take anything to heart, and I don't take it personal, whatever. It does sound like she's a little bit more qualified, and that's perfectly fine. I will still come to the meetings, and I will still try to get to know, what's going on in my community, so.
Everyone on this board has a very different background. So we're not all the same.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll bring it back. If there are no other public comments, I'll go ahead, bring it back to the board for discussion. What do you guys think? Any thoughts?
So I do like the idea that Tanya has been at the last 3 meetings. You've expressed an interest, and I appreciate that. And Laura, I know it sounds like you may be splitting your time. Do appreciate your interest. And I would say we also have an open board position later this year. And I would hope that one of you, if not both of you, would throw your hat in the ring for that as well.
Eric, do you have-
I concur. I think the idea of actually running for the position is valuable. It's what we really need to have for that other seat that's here on the board.
Speaking from experience.
Dr. Peterson, what's your thought?
No, I agree. I mean, and thank you guys for coming in. I appreciate the fact that you're coming to have come to our meetings before and have an interest. Either applicant is fine, would be fine with me, so I don't.
Yeah, similar to you, I appreciate Tanya coming to our meetings the last several times. I mean, at least my recommendation is maybe having Tanya as appoint her to the committee and then have Laura as the alternate. And then down the road, if Tanya feels like she wants to, it sounds like you want to do an appointment and for the fill an application for
Is that a motion?
pardon me?
Is that a motion?
I could make that motion, sure, I'll make that motion, I guess I could just end it. All right, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Directors Fardonish,
Aye.
Peterson,
Yes.
English is absent, Logan,
Aye.
and Mortensen.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0 with 1 absent, all right?
But before we move on, maybe I'll just make a couple comments since you're both here. So committee meetings are scheduled as needed and we'll be in contact with you about your availability for those meetings. And then you'll also get an email from Carrie and then eventually from the county. Our committee members need to file what's known as a Form 700. It's not difficult, but it is a kind of a formal process to submit. It's submitted electronically through the county. And you disclose potential conflicts of interest on those forms. So if there's any questions you have about that after the fact, just let Carrie or I know. Help you sort it out.
Can we speak to if either individual is interested in running for the open seat?
Yes, I have that as one of my
Oh,
upcoming
okay,
items
then
in
never mind.
just a few minutes.
Okay,
On and it really won't affect the appointment of this seat because even if they were eventually appointed, they wouldn't take their seats until
yeah.
December.
So that's fine, okay. All right, anything else,
No,
gentlemen? Okay, all right, guys, well, thank you again for applying. All right, next item, budget amendment.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
So am I appointed and then she's gonna be the alternate?
Correct,
Yes.
yes.
But you're both gonna be encouraged to attend all the committee meetings. It's just kind of a formality about the number of voting members on the committee.
I previously held that for a period of time, and it's not difficult, it's just scheduling and it's reading. So it's actually rather informative for our community of where our finances are going and how we're spending our monies.
That's what I'd like to.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, the next meeting probably gonna be the audit, so that they're going forward, that's where you get to see all that, where the money is being spent, so I think that would be very interesting. Okay, alright, okay, now what, we have the chief already up there for fire station expansion interim phase 1. Wow,
Yes, thank you. So before you tonight is a recommendation from staff to approve a budget amendment to move forward with contract services to begin phase 1 of a fire station expansion and remodel. In March of '23, the board adopted a fire department master plan. And that was in anticipation in the anticipation of the adoption of that master plan. We went out and did an RFP for architectural services. That RFP was to get conceptual drawings for the fire station expansion to include into that master plan. The staff selected Rubio Medina, and this is just a little background, architect. The concept drawings included a two-story expansion with a pretty significant remodel of the existing station. Upon receiving the cost estimates, as the board well knows, we determined that the costs were too high and we didn't choose to move forward at that time. Fast forward to May of 2024, we met with the Fire and Emergency Services Committee and discussed options to the proposed expansion. The committee requested staff explore options that still met the department's needs, but scaled back the project to fit the current financial situation, or I should say limitation. Following the committee meeting, staff attended a fire station a fire station design conference in Phoenix, Arizona. There were several takeaways from that conference, but the primary was that construction costs are not going to get cheaper. And essentially, all of the attendees, plus all of the municipalities and whatnot that I encountered there, basically said, if you're going to build, build now, because it's not going to get cheaper. Provided in your staff report, I have two tables, and essentially these two tables are numbers that I received from the design conference. The top number is your worst case scenario, and that is that roughly $1,100 a square foot number, which is our base bid for just the expansion portion. And then the two alternate bids, which I'll show you here in a few minutes on the actual site plan or the drawings, the concept drawing, would show a kind of a modest remodel of the upstairs and then a small remodel of the bathroom downstairs. So again, that came in, and these are very, very rough estimates, but again, worst case scenario, 2.5 million. Current rates, and what they're going for now, and I heard there's a little bit of a dip that just recently took place, but are roughly about 950 a square foot. And you can kind of see the cost comparison there. So a little bit less than, the worst case scenario, by about 400,000, somewhere in that range. Let's see. Those costs do include construction documents and actual construction to the point of completion. So that includes all of the architect's fees, the contractor, It may not include, depending upon the square footage of the way it works out, it may not include permitting fees. But I believe we would ask the county to waive some of those permit fees at the time of construction. At the June 19th Fire Committee meeting, staff presented a scaled down single-story concept, attachment A, and this is the floor plan that we brought back to the Fire Committee. The committee was in support of moving forward with this new concept, including getting a new updated design proposal. The new design proposal is attached in your board packet as attachment B from Rubio Medina Architect. The new proposal, or I'm sorry, yeah, that proposal would allow us to contract Rubio to finish the design, create construction documents, work with the district on changes and revisions, and to sit in on plan review meetings with the county planning building department and any questions that we would have, including with the fire committee and staff. From the fire station design conference, I did also learn that it is recommended that all projects under $3 million use a delivery method called design bid build. It's just like it sounds, design bid build. You design the project, you go out to bid once you have the design project, and then obviously you get a contractor and you build it. We would finish the design with Mr. Medina. He would turn that design concept into construction documents, and then we would go out to bid for construction. The winning contractor would work with Mr. Medina and the county to obtain the appropriate permits, and then we would commence construction. Keep in mind that we would have to come back to the board at the time of receiving bids from the contractor to do another budget amendment for the cost of the actual build. Again, the main reason that we're coming to the board to do this is the deficiencies that we currently have with the current situation, and I think the board is well aware of those deficiencies that we have up there. Single bathroom, single shower. We've had many instances in the past where we've had people out on fires come back. They've all needed to what we would call decontaminate. And it's a waiting game. And then all of a sudden, one gets done and we get dispatched to another call, and two haven't been able to clean or shower or get the contamination off of them before they're responding to something else. So with the single shower and 3 people, it's not very conducive to get people cleaned off after these incidents. Let's see, Rubio Medina has provided, again, like I said, the proposal that's in your packet, attachment B, at a cost of $127,798. So staff recommends that the board approve the budget amendment in that amount to move forward with phase 1 on the fire station expansion, construction documents, remodel, project management, and plan check revision assistance. And again, like I said, keep in mind, we would be coming back to the board for another budget amendment if we choose to go with a particular contractor. That completes my report, and I'm available for questions.
Great. Well, thank you very much for the report. This is very exciting. Obviously, I know originally the plan that was there was going to cost way more than we could, way more than what we have, what we could have, that we can afford. So really appreciate that you're looking into this, trying to downsize for something that, you know, I think is going to meet the needs of our fire department. And obviously, the staff needs something like this to be able to operate properly. I have just a couple of questions. As far as the design work, how long will it take?
I would have to get with Mr. Medina on that, but from my understanding, he's got most of the information from the previous build and working with the subcontractors, and he could go through it relatively quickly. So we're looking at a couple months maybe.
And then I know with the numbers you mentioned, you know, $2.5 million, it is something that, well, we used to have in our, in the account, because of the fire engine, that's something that we had to pay ahead of time, so we had to pay the whole, $1 million, so that came out of that account. But I just wanna ask General Manager, are we still gonna be okay moving forward? I know, but because it's gonna take probably 2 or 3 years before we could get the grant from the Congressman Pineda's office.
Yeah, you know, there's gonna be a little cash flow issue. It's gonna depend on the timing. I think that at the end of the day, the district has enough money based on the cost estimates that we've looked at. Between the USDA grant that Pineda helped secure for us for the engine, plus the estimated cost of this expansion. We can afford all those items. There may be a time when we have to do like an internal loan or some other short-term financing to cover the construction costs, should we be materially underway with this project before being reimbursed by
Okay.
USDA.
Okay, so.
I mean, there's gonna be some time between now and then before that occurs. It's also possible that we wouldn't need to, either some additional funds come into the capital fund through the payment of fees, or the engine gets completed, the engine is done, and or the costs are finalized, and we get it reimbursed before we've fully expended the funds for this project.
Okay, so, but there are options available.
There are options, and I think it's a short-term
Yes.
issue, you know,
Yeah.
under maybe months to a year that we have to worry about the cash flow, depending on how fast this moves forward. You know, there are a couple of things here that the permitting from the county, that's a bit of an unknown about how long it will take and whether or not we need to go through a minor use permit or a conditional use permit process, or is it just simply a building permit? And plan checks, and those kind of things, that's unpredictable about how long that might take.
Mhm.
And the other thing I think it's worth mentioning, it doesn't go directly to your question, but the big picture, I think it does. This design, which you're looking at the top of the page where it says storage and workout and day room, that is the same, mostly, it's the same footprint as the original from 2 years ago, the
First story.
larger plan. This would be designed to accommodate that second story. So again, that's why it's phase one. This is not the build out of the station expansion. This is phase one, use it immediately, and when the time comes that we need to expand further, it's already, it's already, you know, already planned.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good point. And, Carrie, if you could scroll down to the bid alt one, not the base bid, at the top, very top. There you go. So this is the current floor or footprint, I'll say, not floor plan, but footprint of the upstairs. We would leave that existing bathroom in place and then add 3 dorms up there, and add an additional bathroom up there. So it would essentially be that sleeping area, for the on-duty crew. And we wouldn't have our captain downstairs in a makeshift office. So that would be one of those makeshift type, what's the word I'm looking for? Alterations that we've done from the original bid. The original bid, as you probably remember, had that second floor with 6 dorms in it.
Yeah.
And a lot more storage space. This is kind of that reduced, version that the committee asked us to go.
If you scroll back down just to, again, I wanna make sure that board members know what they're looking at. The area that's Xed out, that was the original design, reconfiguration of the ground floor. That's no longer part of the mix, for this first phase. What is an expansion of the existing restroom. Right now, that's a water closet only, nothing else in there except for a toilet and a sink. That would be expanded to accommodate a shower, so that way we'd have 3 showers in the facility.
Great, that would be wonderful.
And those are listed here as bid alt 1, bid alt 2, so there's some options. If bids come in and there's concerns, it's just sort of designed from the get-go to have a few different options if necessary.
Any questions?
Yes. So those estimates that you had given, for each of these bids, that's in your staff report, are those based on California
Yes.
cost?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I talked to several architects, that were at that station design conference, and I made sure to select the ones from California. There was a company from Texas, and they indicated they would rather not give me estimates on it because they weren't aware of the California.
Well, if you did it nationwide, it would skew it because California costs are probably gonna be
Right.
much higher than,
Yeah.
say, Missouri.
Yeah.
The second one is, going back to this, I think originally when we did the $5 million version of the remodel or expansion, the base bid, that area is exactly the same, is it not?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, and we did tweak a couple of things in the clean room. And we shrank, you can see that area where it says battery. Sorry, it's
Immediately to the right. of the
right
training
there, exactly.
okay,
So right there, we shrunk that a little bit to accommodate more lockers in that clean room.
okay,
And then it also allowed that clean access into the office space, without going through a double door. The old one had a single door.
okay. And is your office being condensed? It looks like it's
No, so
falling
that
to
pole,
accommodate the pole.
no, the same office would stay there. That is currently our medical storage room.
Okay,
And the medical storage room would come out of there and go into the upper left storage room over there.
okay, so the pole is gonna be part of bid 2? Or
That
bid
will
3?
be part of bid alternate 1.
Oh, bid all, okay, 1.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, got it. And then, so the dorms, currently you have 2
Yes,
and 1 bathroom.
correct.
And that was remodeled to remove the bathtub, correct? And the mold.
Yeah, correct.
And then, so the kitchen is going and you're adding a dorm, adding a bathroom. And then if I recall, the original plan was also putting a training room, I think probably above this room.
No, it was actually that current room. So we would
Okay.
just strip out all the walls and it would be a wide open room.
Upstairs.
Yeah, that would be the training room.
Okay, and
Adding-
that's been removed.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, in the future, 10, 15 years from now, if there's money there and we can build up, at that point, they could look at taking the current dorms when they add the upstairs to the base bid.
Yeah.
And then convert that to a training room again,
Okay.
or whatever the needs are at that time.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that answers my questions. Thank you.
Yeah, we had the discussion during the fire committee that
Yeah.
the reason it was the 5.5 million, the significant.
Well, yeah, I
cost was
remember the
coming from
design, because
this.
we've talked about this since January of
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
That's when it was first brought up
Yeah,
with,
right.
Yeah.
so this was long overdue.
Yeah.
And I thank the fire department, staff for their patience. So, and I appreciate your creativity in trying to come up with some alternate plan, because I think that when we got that bid, that $5 million bid, it was right after COVID. And it was because the supply chain was just crushed. And so everything was costing more. So,
Yeah, and ironically, it was right during some major significant fires that took out some lumber mills and the
Yeah.
cost of lumber just.
yeah, the price of wood went up significantly. Yeah, I remember that. We were all in shock.
Any other questions from other board
Dude,
members?
excuse my ignorance, because I haven't looked up since 2020.
Yep.
Are we shoring up the foundation and the girders for the building itself to have the training room in the future, or is this just for the second current?
So if you can scroll up again, so that bid alternate 1, like I said, it's the current size of the current upstairs.
Mhm.
And we would just take all those dorms and probably the 1 bathroom out in the future. That would be my recommendation. That's probably gonna be well into the future. And that would be the new created training room.
That's all existing space. That
Okay.
was,
Yeah,
one,
it's-
it's the existing living space of the current fire station.
Okay.
So that's all those outside.
Yeah, it was just a
walls are
question of whether or not
existing.
we're shoring up the
Yes.
current building or whether or not we're just using the existing space.
No, we are adding, so that new section, and if you can scroll back down, Carrie. Thank you. So if you look at where it says base bid, The
Yes.
thick wall right behind there, that's that current big bifold door.
Okay.
And we're basically walling that off, removing that door and adding on behind that. Our intention is to build it in such a way that it will be able to take the second floor easily. And we'll do the footings, we'll do the framing and everything to accommodate the second floor when the time comes.
Thank you.
For future.
And then the second question that I have, just because of some of my past experience, is the pole still necessary? I've seen a lot of stations that have started to remove them.
Yeah, I did a lot of research on the poles. I did a lot of research on slides. I did a lot of research on a variety of different methods, these quick elevators, whatnot. The pole seems to be the safest and quickest form right now. There is some training that takes place with it, and there's new technology that basically creates these covers that go over it. They open up at the time of a dispatch or an alarm that goes off, and then they close again afterwards. So there's no potential fall issues or anything like that. They create a very padded and stable landing point on them now, where they didn't have those in the past, and those were some of the injuries came from.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's the quickest and most effective way to get down from that upstairs bedroom, instead of coming down those stairs at 3 a.m. half asleep.
Appreciate that.
You bet.
So is that why they're removing poles because of the?
Injuries, ankle injuries and equipment falling and individuals who have slipped through them, yes.
Thank you for that.
Just don't let me use it.
That's an emergency.
We'll get you trained up.
Yeah. Any other questions? No. Director Peterson, any questions?
No, I know we spent a lot of time on this in the fire committee, and I want to thank you, Tom. You know, I think you did a great job of bringing this back with a price that we can kind of accept. I would say that I think we should move forward quickly so that this price doesn't end up being 5 million. And I know that's hard to do, but anyway, I do have one question on the architect. Are we under current contract, or we'd have to come up with another contract for him? Or I'm sure that at the time he did the original work and now he's doing more work. How's that gonna work?
Yeah, so basically what this is, it's just an additional service request on the current contract. So we're still under contract because we didn't really kind of complete the boundaries of the existing contract. And so we've always kind of kept them on retainer. We were looking at other things, as the committee knows, from a modular home to a variety of other things. So we've kind of always kind of kept them on a retainer. So technically, yeah, we're still under contract with him, and this would just revise his contract and create an additional service request from him.
Change order.
Change order.
Okay, and he's good with that? I mean,
Yeah, he submitted it.
okay.
It's work.
Well, I want to make sure that he's here for the duration and we don't have a problem.
Oh, he's
We've
ready
had
to go.
before.
Yeah, in my conversations with him last week, a week before, he's ready to go. Yeah, he's.
We're ready to go.
He's very anxious to see this project get moving.
And I just for clarification and for the record, when Rubio Medina was selected, it was through a request for proposals process, and the board awarded the contract to Rubio Medina. So we believe, even though you've since changed your purchasing policy a couple of times, that it still complies with the newest version. This was selected through an RFP process. And actually, when he submitted the original proposal, we had cost estimates for both the conceptual, a couple versions of conceptual drawings, which we did receive, and completion of those drawings. This is just a kind of a revised version of that second half.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead to the public and see if there are any public comments regarding this matter. Any public comments here? There's one person on Zoom. Do they have any comments? Doesn't look like it. Okay, okay, wonderful. I'll come back to the board, and then if there are no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion for this item.
Go ahead, Eric.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget amendment for the fire station expansion into phase one for the concept phase one and interim expansion of the fire station. Consider approving the budget. Now, $127,798 for architectural services.
I'll second.
All right, wonderful. Roll call, please.
Directors Mortensen,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
English is absent, Peterson,
Yes,
and Fardonish.
So budget, the motion passes 4-0 with one absent. Thank you. Well, thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, and I wish that this works out. Yeah, so, great. All right. Next item is the general manager's report.
Yeah, just a few items for you. One is, as you know, the nomination period for the November 2024 board election has closed. At the close of the nomination period, there were two candidates that submitted nomination papers, Deborah Logan and Naveed Fardonish. There are 3 seats. It now is expected that the Board of Supervisors will appoint Deborah Logan and Naveed Fardonish in early November in lieu of an election to those 4-year terms. Since there was not a third candidate, we will not have an election. Not a third candidate or more than 3 candidates will not have an election. And in fact, there wasn't quite enough to even fill the current needs. So we expect the process to be basically identical to what it was in 2022. Where the county will ask us, TCSD, Temple Community Services District, to make a recommendation for the Board of Supervisors consideration to fill what will be the vacant board seat. We've already sort of started that process and have solicited applications or interested parties through, again, our email contact list, through utility billing, through the Parks and Recreation parents email lists, through the website updates, and through public press releases. And I believe we've received 2 applications for that already. We've calendared that this board would consider making a recommendation after reviewing those candidates and asking them to attend your October 1st board meeting. That should give you plenty of time, and matter of fact, you could take longer if it were necessary, but that's what we're on track to do. So it's open now. We're asking folks to, if they're interested, to raise their hand or submit a simple form, and then we'll bring this before you in about 6 weeks.
you guys can raise your hand back there.
Tomorrow night is the last summer concert in the park. So just if you haven't come to one yet, this is your last chance until 2025, 6 o'clock.
Lonnie Mills.
Lonnie Mills. The community cleanup day in coordination with Creeks to Coast will be on September 21st. So that's a Saturday, September 21st. More information to come. And then I will be out of the office on August 29th, 30th. That's next Thursday, Friday.
Only 2 days for the wedding?
I got 3 kids. I can't be taking a week off for each one of these kids.
He's not the one taking the honeymoon.
No, there's no honeymoon. At least that anyone's told me about.
Well, they haven't told you yet.
I'm on the last to know basis, you know those guys.
You haven't got the bill yet.
Yes.
I've already got some bills.
Great. Well, thank you for that report. Appreciate it. Now, any questions? For the general manager? No. Okay, public, any questions on any of the items he reported? Yeah, great. Move on to the committee reports. There are none, so we go to activity update reports. First one is engineering. Any questions on engineering?
No.
Finance, any questions on finance? Nope. Public, any questions? Okay, fire and emergency services, any questions for fire and emergency staff report?
I do have one question, Tom. I see on here the one for hazardous conditions, power line down, and then at the very bottom, one was a tree down. Are they the same one or are they two separate?
Two separate.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had some, obviously the heat has created some issues with some oaks and losing large limbs, so.
Was that the one on Lincoln? I saw you up there.
Yeah,
I think it might have been up.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
as a matter of fact, it was, yeah.
yeah.
All right, any, public, any questions? Okay, Parks and Recreation and Solid Waste, report, any questions on that? No, public, okay, lastly, the utilities, any questions on that?
So I do have a question on utilities, because we do have the Blackwell down. Is that creating any issue? I mean, it looks like I'm a little concerned with the heat being what it is. And people use of water, but it looks like our production is still below our 2013 production.
Oh, yeah, way below 2013, and really, it's been very moderated. We've been surprised that the peak usage hasn't been higher this summer, because we've had some sustained periods of hot weather, but people have remained water conscious, and it's not been problematic. Now, that being said, we're not off the hook. You know, we have redundancy in wells, so that if other wells have problems, it could be more problematic, but we haven't ran into that problem this year. We're really kind of on the tail end. Our history is in September, water use tends to start dropping.
Well, it looks like the water consumption did go up slightly over 2023 in the month of July. And it's kind of, it looks like it's on the 5-year average. But I'm just a little concerned with that well being down. Do we have a time frame from when that well is gonna be back up and running?
Oh, likely not until next year.
Oh,
You remember your last meeting, you approved some pretty significant rehabilitation.
yeah, but we don't really use it other than really the summer.
Correct. It's a deep well. It's really our, capacity kind of.
Okay. All right, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Any questions from public or utilities? All right, so that's done. Directors report, any reports from directors regarding any meetings that they attended on behalf of the district? Or
I did attend the Templeton School Board meeting, not on behalf of the district, but as a private citizen. And I just want to report, because you'll see it in the tag report, that unfortunately did not get to carry it until Friday to include, so it'll be in the next board packet. But the Templeton Board unanimously,
School board.
pardon me?
School board.
Or the school board, thank you. The school board unanimously expressed concern about the gas station going in at Vineyard. The concern is the close proximity to the school. And apparently it has to be greater than 500 feet, and the school is within 375 for the continuation and for the homeschool. So the students are there. So the board instructed the superintendent to write a letter of expressing concerns and opposing that particular gas station. So we'll see where it goes from there. There's still a long list of items that the developer still needs to provide. So.
Okay, great. So this was the last item for our regular meeting. We are going to go to a closed session. But before we go to a closed session, we want to see if there's any public comment on the closed session items. We have 3 items that are going to be in the closed session. Any?
I will just inform the board that in the last 2 weeks, we've had 2 in-county vegetation fires where we've had response from Templeton. One out on Shadow Canyon, which our crew was out there for 21 hours. And then this morning, Captain Goldblum and his crew assisted San Luis City with the fire up behind the high school.
Thank you. Thanks for letting us. All right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go to closed session. I don't need to.
Thank you.